Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. We got some quiet, please. Quiet, please. We're going to have the agenda review session for Wednesday, December 2nd, 2015, for the City of Brunswick City Council. We have ordinance for discussion. We have ordinance on first reading, 501. An ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinance of the City of Brunswick, Title 8, Chapter 56, providing for paid sick time and paid safe time in the City of New Brunswick. 502, an ordinance authorizing a special emergency appropriation for the preparation and execution of a complete program of revaluation of real property mandated by the State of New Jersey for use of the tax assessor of the City of Brunswick, Middlesex County, New Jersey. Resolutions. 501, approve agenda amendments. 502, approve payroll. 503, authorize refund for redeemed tax sale certificates. 504 is pulled as unnecessary. 505, approve 2016 City Council meeting schedule. 506, could you explain some time? 506, authorize execution of grant with County of Middlesex Office of Aging and Disabled Services for 2016 Information and Assistance Senior Citizen Resource Center, amount to be received, $5,000. 507, authorize execution of grant with County of Middlesex Office of Aging and Disabled Services for 2016 Congregate Meals Senior Citizen Resource Center, amount to be received, $10,000. 508, approve agreement with the Middlesex County Utility Authority for solid waste disposal agreement, term January 1st, 2016, December 31st, 2018. 509, approve amendment resolution R011544, reason to provide specialized legal services related to city appeal of 2016 average ratio with DeFrancesco, Bateman, Coley, Oskin, Kunzman, Davis, Larry, and Flom, from 5,000 to 10,000. 510, approve request for use of city sidewalk requested by Community Baptist Church of Somerset. The location is sidewalk in front of train station for distribution of religious literature and clothing to the needy and homeless. The date is Saturday, December 5th, 2015. Rain date is Saturday, January 9th, 2016. Time is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. 511, approve off-premise raffle merchandise at 265 East Avenue, St. Peter's University Hospital for St. Peter's Foundation, date February 1st, 2016. 512, approve award a contract with Atlantic Salt Incorporated for treated rock salt for public works and water utility departments. Term is 12-month period commencing December 3rd, 2015 and ending November 30th, 2016. Not to exceed $105,200. The Middlesex County Cooperative Purchasing Program. CK12, Middlesex from Atlantic Salt Incorporated. 513, authorized property lien for board UP Security. Location 53 Remsen Avenue, Block 150, Lot 2. Amount is $854.17. 514, authorized property lien for board UP Security. Location 268 Somerset Street, Block 97, Lot 27. Amount $657.98. 515, approve amendment resolution R121420, reason repairs to diesel exhaust system in the amount of $1,721.80 with Clean Air Company for proprietary maintenance and repairs. Contract for the applied movement system diesel exhaust system at all three firehouses. The amount is $1,721.80. 516, authorized tax collector to transfer credits on several tax and utilities. 517, approve amendment resolution R101511, reason to pay additional legal fees in the amount of $1,028.50 to Benedict and Albany. The police director Anthony Caputo in the matter of Victor Rodriguez versus City of New Brunswick from $15,113 to $16,141.50. 518, pulled as unnecessary. 519, approve off-premise raffle 50/50 at 59 Beale Road, Cook Campus Center, Rutgers University. For New Jersey Forestry Association Incorporated. The date is March 19, 2016. 520, approve off-premise raffle merchandise at 59 Beale Road, Cook Campus Center, Rutgers University. For New Jersey Forestry Association Incorporated. The date is March 19, 2016. 521, approve payment to Hogan, Longo, Moran, Dutz, Lucas, Bradley, J. Hernandez, JSC, retired for hearing officer, disciplinary action of Carmine Louisa. Not to exceed $3,510. 522, approve authorization to advertise. For firms to deliver one forensic recovery of evidence device. for the police department, specification number 495-15B. 523, authorized purchase by police department under state contract A81713 from Global Industries Incorporated for 10 chairs not to exceed $2,976.60. 524, approve authorization to advertise for mechanical and electrical maintenance and emergency repair work at the water treatment plant and pump stations for the water utility, specification number 496-15W. 525, approve award of contract with Clean Air Company for property maintenance and repair. Contract for the supply movement system diesel exhaust system at all 3 firehouses. Term is 12-month period, commencing December 4, 2015, and ending December 3, 2016, not to exceed $8,000. 526, approve authorization to advertise for coffer dam repairs at the DNR Canal, specification number 880-15. 527, approve amendment of resolution R061530, change order number 2. With Z Brothers Concrete Contractors Incorporated. The reason is an adjustment of quantities from those proposed to the quantities actually performed under the contract for Hampton Street roadway improvement, specification number 845-14. The amount is $21,764.53. Approval of this change order will not constitute an increase of 20% or more of the original contract. 528, authorized purchase by police department, DARE program under state contract K40166/M0483, NASPO Value Point Computer from She or Shy International Corporation for 3 Microsoft Surface Pro 4 tablets, not to exceed $4,954. 529, authorized purchase by police department under state contract A83011/T2007 from Pure Trip Fleet Services Incorporated for 4 2016 Jeep Patriots, not to exceed $71,571. 530 is pulled at the request of the water director. 531, authorized purchase by police department under state contract A82528 with Cleveland Auto and Tire Company Incorporated for 22 tires for the fire department for various apparatus, not to exceed $8,514.70. 532, approved request for street closure requested by James Neal. Location starting at AC Rexall Elementary School at the corner of Livingston Avenue and Comstock Street to Stanford Street to Joyce Miller Avenue. Rolling closed. For celebratory march honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Date is Monday, January 18, 2016. Time is 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. 533, resolution to authorize the implementation of municipal-wide revaluation of real property located in the city of New Brunswick and requesting the Middlesex County Board of Taxation to enter an order providing for same. 534, approve off-premise raffle 50/50 at 21 Union Street for Phi Sigma. Date February 10, 2016. 535, approve authorization for submission and acceptance of grant with Middlesex County for 2016-2017 New Brunswick Alliance on Substance Abuse Prevention. Cash match $11,009. Grant $44,034. 536, authorize application, execution, and acceptance of the grant with the New Jersey Department of Transportation's Highway Safety Fund Grant Program for 2015 for Safe Corridors Program Fund Grant. 537, approve relaxation of the city noise ordinance requested by New Prince Construction Company. Reason is the mill and pave Albany Street between Nielsen Street and Spring Street, which is in conjunction with the Middlesex County Bikeway project. The dates: Friday, December 4, 2015, Monday, December 7, 2015, Tuesday, December 8, 2015. Alternate date, Wednesday, December 9, 2015. Time is 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. We have no items discussed by council. No. Okay, that's our agenda. Can I get the clerk to please call the roll?
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Escobar is absent. Council Vice President Fleming.
Here.
Councilmember Garlotti, she's running late. And Council President Egan.
Here. Please be advised that the notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been complied with and satisfied, that the annual notice, which gave sufficient notice of the time and place and conduct of all public meetings of the municipal council of the city of New Brunswick, has been filed with the city clerk, has been placed on an appropriate bulletin board in the lobby of City Hall in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and has been transmitted to the official newspaper of the city of New Brunswick, namely the Home News Review. Please stand and pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
get a moment of silence, please, for our men and women serving in our armed forces overseas and everywhere and abroad, and for all our men and women of our armed forces who lost their lives in battle. Thank you. We have minutes from November 4th, 2015. Can I get a motion on the minutes?
Motion. Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming.
Yes.
Council President Egan.
Yes. Yes. We have ordinance on first reading, 501, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinance of the City of New Brunswick, Title 8, Chapter 56, providing for paid sick time and paid time leave in the City of New Brunswick.
Move the ordinance setting down Wednesday, December 16th, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. Same date to be advertised. Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming.
Yes.
Council President Egan.
Yes. 502, an ordinance authorizing a special emergency appropriation for the preparation and execution of a complete program of revaluation of real property mandated by the state of New Jersey for use of the tax assessor of the City of New Brunswick, Middlesex County, New Jersey.
Move the ordinance setting down Wednesday, December 16th, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. Same date to be advertised. Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming.
Yes.
Council President Egan.
Yes. We have resolutions from 501 to 537, and we are pulling 504, 518,
5:30.
and 530. Would anybody from the City of New Brunswick like to comment on particular resolutions? Yes, sir.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Council President, members of the council. My name is Charles Prattville. I'm from New Brunswick. Let's start with the matters involving taxes. You just
Which resolution are you speaking of?
well, there's two of them, 509 and 533. I need a little bit of education here. Can you tell me why the city is doing a revaluation, why you're doing it now, and also why you're appealing the 2016 average ratio?
Well, I can tell you we're doing a revaluation. I think it's been almost 25 years since we've done one, but I mean, Mr. DeShano can speak more on the number part of it and what the reasoning is. Mr. DeShano, who's our tax assessor for the City of New Brunswick.
On the revaluation, it has been 25 years since the city last underwent a revaluation. During that time, different parts of the city and different property types have changed in value at different rates, which has caused the fairness of assessments from house to house or from property to property or neighborhood to neighborhood. The level of fairness has gone away with those changes in the various neighborhoods. So the purpose of a revaluation is to make the assessments fair from one property to the next and from one part of the city to the other. And there's a measure of that fairness that's calculated every year by the state. It's called the coefficient of deviation. When the coefficient of deviation rises above 15%, that signals that the distribution of taxes among the property owners in the city is no longer as fair as it should be. So it becomes necessary to do a revaluation. And the city's coefficient of deviation this year is over 21%, which is a strong indicator that a revaluation is needed, and it's needed now.
Please, for the public's notice, it's for 2017, is that correct?
Right. The work would go on, the inspections of properties and the analysis of market data would go on throughout all of 2016. And the new assessments would go on the books for the tax year 2017. The notices to property owners of what their new value would be issued in December of 2016. after which there would be a period of informal hearings with the representatives from the revaluation company, and that would go on through all of December and all of January, into January of 2017. And after all of the adjustments, after everybody's concerns were heard, then the new assessments would be adopted and put onto, made official on the books for 2017.
Thank you.
As far as the ratio appeal, through that same process that the coefficient is derived from, the state does an average ratio study for every town in the state every year. And it's for the distribution, for the fair and equitable distribution of state school aid is the primary reason why they do the study. But they take every sale price and divide it by the assessed value. And then they take the average of those ratios at the end of the year, and they come up with an aggregate average ratio for the town for the whole year. And for the past 5 years, we've been the average ratio for the city has been right around 39%. The published ratio for 2016 that was published on October 1st by the state was 35.05%, indicating a 10% increase in all property values for the city from 2014 to 2015. And there was no sharp or sudden increase in values from 2014 to 2015. So there's an error somewhere in the state's table. I believe that the ratio the published ratio should be somewhere around 39% again for 2016. And we're challenging the state's calculations. And we filed a formal appeal with the tax court to have them reconsider the ratio for the Brunswick for next year.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. DeShano.
So just so I'm clear, it's supposed to be closer to 39%, but the published one was 35?
Correct.
Okay. And so how often are municipalities supposed to do revaluations?
Well, I don't think there's any method or madness to when they're supposed to do it, but I believe when the numbers, when the assessor just spoke about the numbers, when they get to the numbers that they are, that's why I believe that a town, some towns wait longer than others. Some towns don't want to do them because it costs a lot of money to do them. I mean, the city's going to undergo quite a bit of an expense. I don't know what the number is. To get the work done, we have to go, how much is it, Mr. Chairman?
$1.2 million.
$1.2 million just to hire a company to come in and do it. We have to, there's a big process in inspecting each home and each, building and everything like that. So it's a big expense on our part to do it. So that's why a lot of towns don't do it. Am I correct, Mr. DeShano?
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that? Please stand up.
Typically, revaluations are usually needed every 10 to 15 years. Because the 1990s were so stable, we kind of got an extra bit of mileage out of the last revaluation from 1990. But it is needed now. I lost my train of thought, sorry.
Okay. Have we begun to search for, do we hire a company yet?
No, I was waiting to see, that the council, would approve doing the revaluation for next year before contacting any of the companies. We had looked into doing a revaluation right before the market crashed in 2009. So we had interviewed some companies back then, and we'd gotten some numbers. It was close to $1 million at that time. When the housing bubble popped and market value started to decline rapidly, there was a lot of uncertainty in the market, and we couldn't do a revaluation at that time. So we had to wait until the market started to stabilize. And over the last 3 years, we've seen a declining number of short sales and foreclosures, and there is some stability in the market now that we can engage in a revaluation on.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, and so the sign that a reevaluation would be necessary is a coefficient of deviation above 15%. For how many years has our coefficient been above 15%?
At least 3 years.
At least 3 years. Okay, and Mr. Council President, you're on the Middlesex County Tax Board, right?
Yes.
And so what role does the tax board play in, basically
tax board plays a role, and we are the ultimate, well, not the ultimate, they can always go to tax board, but we are the decision makers whether to approve the city of New Brunswick gets to do a reval. That's what the role of the Middlesex County Tax Board is, one of the roles.
So you'd have to sign off on it at the tax board?
Correct. Correct, but I will recuse myself at the tax board. I don't involve myself in any dealings that deal with the city of New Brunswick personally. But that's how it's worked out. Like, we just approved one at the tax board level for the township or the municipality of Carteret.
Okay.
And so you know, that's one of our functions at the tax board.
Okay, and what about Denellen? What's going on there? They're the only town that hasn't.
Well, I would suggest you come to a tax board meeting to get more information or call the tax board, but Denellen has been, I'm trying to think now. Well, Piscataway just finished one. Denellen, I don't think I don't think they're involved in one at the moment.
I read that the state,
trying to apply for what?
the Division of Taxation has actually accused the Middlesex County Tax Board of lax enforcement. And they said that you allowed Denellen to go 33 years without doing a reval because they're unpopular.
This is the first I'm hearing of any of those things that you're speaking of, Mr. Cradible, so I can't comment on them because I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
Okay, fair enough. When's the next tax board meeting? Is tomorrow?
Next tax board meeting, I believe, is next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Yes.
Okay, I'll try to make it. I'll move on. Thank you for the thorough answers, by the way.
You're welcome.
So there's a disciplinary action hearing for a city employee. Can you tell me, is that employee currently suspended?
Mr. Shammy?
The disciplinary hearing already occurred, it's been concluded, the disciplinary matter is concluded, the penalty has been meted out, and this is just to pay the hearing officer who was retired Judge Ferenz for his services relative to that matter.
Okay.
Can you tell me, was the person suspended?
There was a penalty involved.
Can you tell me how many days they were suspended?
To tell you the truth, I don't have that information off the top of my head, but I don't want to border into the personnel realm. Mr. Cradible, you know how that is. You can't talk about personnel matters. But I could say to you that there was some penalty involved, but I don't know the exact amount at this point. I didn't handle the matter personally, but I could check on it for you.
Thank you.
I would appreciate that. I'm just concerned because I know there are at least 3 other people who are suspended, and I believe that they've all requested administrative hearings. Am I correct? There's 3 other people suspended, and they've all requested administrative hearings. Why was this person's administrative hearing held and not the others?
I don't know what administrative hearings you're speaking about with respect to who.
Mr. Cradible, we've got to be a little more specific. You just
Certainly.
can't say, you give us some.
Certainly, I think
more
there's
proper-
two water employees, Mr. O'Rourke and Mr.
Well,
Sanchez.
we know about those.
And
Give
then
us the names.
Mr. Patterson, not Mr. Patterson.
Not the Mr. Patterson?
Not the Mr. Patterson, but Richard
Okay,
Patterson.
let's take them one at a
The
time.
fire
What's the
department.
first one there? Mr. O'Rourke?
Yes.
Mr. Lockwood, can you comment on the Mr. O'Rourke situation with the water?
I can tell you that Mr. O'Rourke resigned
He has resigned.
on October 1st. Therein negating the need for disciplinary action.
Okay.
So that hearing will not happen. Mr. Sanchez's hearing has been scheduled, and I can't speak to Mr. Patterson's situation.
Okay.
Thank you for the thorough answers. Next, I want to ask about the next 2 items.
Give us the numbers, please.
Police items, 522. Fred, can you tell me why the police need to buy this Fred?
Captain?
Fred is basically a computer that our detective bureau uses to recover digital evidence from other computers.
And approximately how much does a Fred cost?
What's the, do you know the price of a Fred, Captain, at the time?
That's why we're going out.
That's why we're going out for bid, right? We're gonna find out at the next meeting, I guess.
Okay, do they have any of these in existence, or?
Do we have a
this will be their
Fred
first?
at the police department now, Captain?
No.
No.
This is a little surprising, 10 chairs cost $2,976. These must be some really nice chairs. Can you tell me why the police department needs to buy chairs that are $297 each?
Well, first of all, it's under a state contract, so I believe that there's got to be a budgeted number for the chair. Is there a budgeted number, Captain?
They were purchased under state, or will be purchased under state contract. I don't know why they're so
State contract means that the state went out to
Yeah.
bid for that item, and we can buy the items. for
Well, I
the
can
sale.
tell you, if you're going to be sitting in a chair all day, some of the chairs are like, they're like $300 to $350 a piece, because I know in my, the buildings and buildings that the office furniture can be quite a bit of money, So,
Who's going to get to sit in the chairs?
well, come on.
They're going in a conference room.
A conference room. There you go.
Thank you. The next item is 524. Can you tell me what the emergency was that required repair at the water treatment plant and pump stations?
Water Director, could you give us that information? 524? Mechanical and electrical maintenance.
No,
repair work?
no, there was no emergency
Oh,
that went on.
future.
This is a contract in case we have an emergency,
Oh,
so we don't have to go
Oh,
through
yeah, I should have saw
the
that.
purchasing to get that, so. Sorry, you caught me flat-footed.
okay. Okay, and then the DARE program, 528, is getting 3 Microsoft Surface tablets. What do they need those for?
Captain,
Each there.
they teach the air program on the tablets?
They use them, I don't know exactly the day-to-day operation, but they're gonna use them in the DARE program.
So they bring them with them when they go to visit the kids and everything, they have them with them to teach the DARE program?
I would think so.
Okay.
Okay. It's almost $5,000. The next one is 529, Jeep Patriots. Are these going to replace existing SUVs in the police fleet, or are they going to replace, cars?
Captain?
They're gonna be used for active duty assignments. They're replace some of the older small pickup trucks that you see.
Gotcha. One more. Oh, no, that's at the rebound. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Crowder. Anybody else on the resolutions this evening? Anybody on the resolutions? Seeing none?
Move the resolution.
Second. Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes. We'll now move to the public portion of the meeting. Anybody wants to come up and speak to the council, you have 5 minutes to address the council. Please let me emphasize, please. The ordinance on first reading, we cannot speak about tonight. So don't ask us questions. I mean, you could ask us questions about paid sick leave, but not particularly questions about the ordinance. It's not open for public discussion tonight, so I want to please let you know that in advance. These are statutory rules that we have to go by. Next meeting, it will be open for public discussion. With that, please come up, Ms. Moore.
Hi, yes, my name is Danielle Moore, I live at 188 Rucker Street. I'd like to start off with, about 2 months ago, I gave you a list of things where I was hoping that you would fix in time. That's Joyce Comer and Delavan, and it's good to see that you put more signs out there for the crosswalk, but the lighting system has not been repaired yet.
I know we're working on it. Who could speak on it? Mr. Valenti, you back there? There you are.
That was where you said what you were waiting on a grant.
Mr. Valenti?
No, specific to the in-road crosswalk at Delavan and Joyce Kilmer, that is under, it's a portion of, we have a larger effort to repair. There's several that need repairs as well as the derailleur catch. So we're in the process of developing a bid spec to repair all those at one time.
Well, I hope to see it soon due to where, yesterday I just saw that there was not no crossing guard on that corner. I did call down to the police station, and someone should have been covering that corner, so I hope that, like I said, it's been 2 months, so I hope to see something soon as possible.
So there has no crossing guard been there?
For far as yesterday, no, there was not no crossing guard on the corner. And now, my second thing is I would like to
And you
start.
notified the police? I'm just making
Yes,
sure.
I did.
Okay, and what did they tell you?
They said they would have someone on the corner,
Okay,
but I never seen anyone come.
okay.
So my next situation is who's in charge of crossing guards?
Excuse me, over here. What do you want to know?
Who's in charge of crossing guards?
Captain,
Lieutenant Trigg.
Lieutenant Trigg.
Because I keep hearing more than 3 different officers when I ask the police officer who's in charge of crossing guards, due to where, wow, why is he playing musical corners with the crossing guard? Why would you take one of the best crossing guards off of Livingston and Delavan and put them on another block where you've been changing Livingston, Delavan, Livingston, Comstock, and Delavan and Lee? Why are you playing musical corners with so many locations after a person gets used to how the traffic flows, this and that?
So what do you want to know? You want to question why the police department are moving the crossing guard?
Yes, why do you?
What makes you, and how do you know that that person is the best crossing guard that you're speaking of? What gives you that,
I can't even remember his name at the moment, but he's been doing crossing guards for over 15 years now.
Yeah, okay.
Excuse me, I can't remember his name, the older guy, where he was on Livingston and Delavan.
Okay.
And
Okay, Captain, can you respond?
Well, Lieutenant Trigg, and he has several officers that work for him that coordinate the crossing guards. We move the guards as needed. Sometimes guards need to go to different locations. Specifically with Livingston and Delavan, Livingston and Comstock, Lieutenant Trigg has been reporting back to me saying it's running very well. I personally went up there Monday and watched the schools let out. I was very impressed the way the crossing guards handled themselves. There were 4 guards out there, did an excellent job getting the kids across the street. I see no
So
problem.
you went there personally?
I went there personally on Monday.
This past Monday?
so okay, can you tell me, is it the same guards that's there on Livingston and Delavan every day?
No, they move the guards around as they need them. The guards are all trained, they can handle the intersections.
Believe me.
What's wrong with a little rotation? There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe the guards want to go to a different spot. Maybe they like they don't want the same corner every day. Maybe they like going to a different.
So, okay, just because you feel that one day that you're there, that everything goes right, that you feel that it'll be safe from now on?
I didn't say that.
Well, he
I didn't
said,
say that. He said he went there on Monday and everything was running very well. He said, we can't predict the future, as you know. And I mean, I think we're out there. He said he went out there personally to make sure everything was running well. There was people, so you're not happy because the same guard is not on the same corner?
no, because I'll get to my next situation, due to where in the morning shift in the area, you have, like, plenty of them are my friends, but when it's unsafe, I will speak up. Due to where you have plenty of them leaving 10 minutes early from their corner to get to their other job, where I've seen a couple of times children almost get hit. So like I said, just because once something goes good one day, you can't count on it to continue
Okay, so what you're
going.
saying is that you found that there's some crossing guards that are leaving 10 minutes early from their shift?
Yes, I've been seeing
Would you
plenty
like
of
to-
problems with, like
You
I
have their
said, with
names?
crossing
Who
guards.
are they?
I'm not gonna turn in
Hold on, you're not gonna turn them in? You pretty much feel that.
names, but like I said, due to where I
Well, how does that help us?
I hope something to be done, looking forward into dealing with crossing guards.
So let me get, you told us there's people that are leaving 10 minutes early. We want to get to those people and reprimand them and let them know that that's not acceptable, but now you don't want to tell us who they are.
Well, my
You came
situation.
here with half a loaf.
Well, okay, maybe I did this time, but like I said, evidently it's in the same area with Lee Avenue, Livingston Avenue, Delavan, and Comstock.
Okay. Captain, did you get those streets?
Yes.
Right, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
If Ms. Moore would like to call me on my line, she knows my line, I'll take it.
Do you have, is it Lieutenant Trigg or Captain?
Lieutenant Trigg.
Do you have Lieutenant Trigg's extension?
No, I do not.
Can you give her that to us?
745-5280.
5280? Okay. Okay,
And
Mike.
he's the officer that's in charge of the crossing guards, Lieutenant Trigg. But he also has people that work under him, but that's the guy to call if you have a problem.
Okay, then my next situation, I hope, looking forward to the city, put speed bumps down. And the location of school where I mentioned last time, that's Lee Avenue mainly.
Right.
And-
Just to stop you right there, I know that last time we spoke about that's a traffic commission, am I correct?
Should be referred to the traffic
Refer to traffic
commission before it comes to you.
Okay, so can you give us the streets, because when's the next time the traffic commission meets? Yes, Mr. Blaine?
We met, our next meeting is tomorrow. We met the day after the last council meeting. In that time, I was able to secure all the police reports as relates to accidents on Lee Avenue between Sanford, and Handy. There have been a total of 4 in the last 3 years. The one that you referred to, Ms. Moore, was incorrect. There were no injuries at that accident. It was 2:30 in the morning. There was debris, but there was no injuries. I got the police report and the fire department's report that responded to the scene. It was 2:36 in the morning. The other 3 accidents, one was a car that lost control and hit a tree, making a left from Lee on to Delavan going towards Remsen. There was a dog struck, and then there was a parked car that was sideswiped by another vehicle. So based upon the lack of a continuing or repeating accident, we don't see a need for a speed bump there.
Well, okay, the accident that you're talking about on the, October 24th, where you're saying in your report that no one was hurt serious there. There was a puddle of blood there. There was attachments from the car all left there. So you're gonna tell me what skid marks, you're gonna tell me that that was not no serious accident with a big puddle of blood where someone from the school had came and swept the ornaments up that were left from this, the accident, which that was on Saturday.
May I speak to that?
Yes, Mr. Glenn.
If it pleases the council, there was not blood on the scene, it was brake fluid. It was brake, this is as per the fire department's report and the police department's report. So, I don't know where you're coming up with blood. If it's hearsay from the custodian next morning, there was debris, but it was a 1-car accident. It was not a multiple vehicle accident. So unless you were there and you have firsthand accounts, it can conflict with the reports that I've received from our other departments. Otherwise, I don't know.
And these are reports from the fire department and the police department?
Yes, sir.
So, okay, can you give me, what about the accident that happened, the 24th on, Sanford and Remsen Avenue?
Well, I don't think he would know about that. He works for the engineering office. Do you have any, can anybody speak on that? I don't think we can speak.
What, that's where, you can't say this wasn't involved in speed due to where what, it was an accident where they knocked the wall down 2 places with the church there?
Captain?
One vehicle ran the red light, striking the other vehicle, running into the wall.
So was that involved with speeding?
I don't know, we weren't able to ascertain the speed, but the person went through the red light at the intersection.
Well, like I said, wow, that, for that car to, or some, I can't say car or whatever vehicle, what, to break down, what, skid marks, break down one wall, go inside the church and break down the statue.
Ms. Moore, you know there's many, many reasons why people get in accidents, and speeding is definitely one of them.
And thank you, that's what my point is
there's
trying to
There's
prove.
also, you know, intoxication, there's also the cell phone, which is the biggest #1 reckless thing, people texting, all these different things that can happen. And, you know, whether somebody had a skid mark or not doesn't always mean they were speeding. I mean, they could have just panicked and skidded, you know, when you realize you're not paying attention to the road. But listen, my advice to you is to go to when's the meeting tomorrow, Mr. Villendi?
Yes.
What time?
In council chambers here at 1:30.
Thank you. And then one last thing, that's with the ambulance. Are a lot of these employees, are they from New Brunswick?
As far as the ambulance?
Yes.
We don't know, man. They don't work for the city of New Brunswick. They work for either Robert Wood Johnson Hospital or
St. Peter's.
St. Peter's Hospital.
Well, okay, one where I surely will speak up, where actually this happened during school time yesterday, to see, wow, it seemed like none of them know the streets correctly, wow, to see them keep going around in circles, not knowing the streets, wow, that can cost someone their life.
And they're hospital employees of the hospital.
So is the city able to speak up to Robert Wood Johnson or St. Peter's to?
Let me just ask you a question. Were you in the police vehicle? Were you in the ambulance?
No, I was not.
Well, how do you know that they were circling? How do you know?
Because that's where I was taking my child to school that morning, and right there on Lee and Comstock, where they went around the
I don't know. I
block.
drive around. I have a hard time wondering if the car next to me is lost or not. I mean, I don't know.
Well, to see an ambulance, go back and forth, and then okay, come back around, and that they finally see.
There's a number of things that can be factored. That they had the wrong address. I mean, there's a number. I wouldn't believe that I'm not knowing the address. I would believe that most of the first responders that work for the hospitals, I've never heard of them not knowing where to go. This is the first I'm ever hearing of something like this. And I'm just, you know, wondering how you would know that did they tell you they were lost?
Eventually, I seen it in person. Like I said, they were right by the school yesterday
Well,
morning.
listen, we will certainly have, you know, I mean, we, like I said, we don't control that, but I would think, or I would hope that they would know the streets of New Brunswick. I mean, they don't work just in New Brunswick, you know, they have to know, they work all, 6 counties.
I know, but like I said, to see that where, well, pray that it didn't cost that person their life due to we're actually seeing that, like I said, wow, going around in circles due to where they don't know where they're going, whether I drive or not.
I would think in today's age, with this whole thing, you can get on your phone, UPS and everything else, that they would know exactly how to pinpoint an address. That's just my opinion, and they do yeoman's work to go out there and try to save somebody's life and bring somebody to the hospital. So I would think they would want to get to that point as quickly as possible and with the best technology, but we'll certainly look into it.
I'll look into it. What was the time of day yesterday that you noticed
That
this?
was, it was about 8:42.
Okay, and what was the eventual destination that the ambulance should have been
That was
heading
on
for?
Comstock Street, on the corner of Comstock and Lee Avenue, the apartment complex there. That's for them to come down to the school, go all the way down to Lee Avenue in Sanford, then turn back around and then come back there. Like I said, I know what I'm seeing, where they don't know how to find an address. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
We'll
Wood.
place a call and see if
Okay,
there was something unusual with
all right.
that.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Thank you. Anybody else like to address the council this evening? Yes, sir, step up to the microphone.
Good evening, Council. My name is Randy Schutz, S-H-U-T-Z. I'm from South Brunswick, New Jersey. I happen to own one of the owners of a taxi company across the bridge here. I've been there 35 years. We've been in business 60 years. I would like you to look into your ordinance about picking up in New Brunswick my customers that I'm bringing into New Brunswick. When this happened 4 years ago, and I don't know who was here or not here then, it was mainly directed, I assume, at cab companies that were illegal. It is being a very, very bad thing for my company. Monday we had an incident where we had a lady in a wheelchair, a Robert Wood Johnson, who was getting into the car, who was told, do not get into your car, we have to call you a New Brunswick cab. Now, I have talked to several attorneys down here who do not want to get involved with this because we all know why. Today I reached out to an attorney who you all know, McCarthy in English, and I reached out to Wilcox and Cohen in Philadelphia. I don't want to go into this, and I don't want you to go into this, but this is unconstitutional. We all know that. You all have a right to take what cab company you want to take. I brought this lady down to Robert Wood Johnson to have a surgery done on her mouth. She calls my company for me to pick her up, and I can't pick her up.
Will you check her cab?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
This is what I have a question for you. What's going to happen next? You're going to tell the city of New Brunswick what plumber they can use? Come on, guys, we know this is unconstitutional. We all have a right to take who we want to take. I don't want to see them guys go out of business. I know these guys downtown here longer than I know my wife. So I'm not against them. But these are customers of mine that I'm bringing down here that I can't pick up. If you're my friend for 30 years and you live on Monroe and you're having something done tomorrow at Robert Wood, I got to bring you down here and drop you off and leave you here? Do you think that's right? How can you sit there and think that's right? It's not constitutional. And I don't want to get into this. I really don't. This is not how I am. But something's got to be done. I mean, just let me say one other thing. I'm going on a radio station 2 days from that. I'm meeting with Channel 7 tomorrow at 11:30. I don't want to get into this. But something's got to be done.
Sounds like you're up there.
Well, what do you expect me to do, sir? I've been in business 35 years.
When the ordinance was passed, did you come before the council at that time?
No, because nothing was being done.
Well, I don't understand nothing. was being
I
done. They passed the ordinance in New Brunswick.
I assumed what you guys were doing down here was trying to clean up New Brunswick. with the illegal cab companies. No one ever bothered us.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes, the city is constantly looking at ways to improve the taxi service. And one of the things that was done in the council about the ordinance was to restrict people who aren't licensed in New Brunswick from coming in and picking up. They can drop off if they're coming from someplace else, they can't pick up. It's pretty straightforward, and I think it will be sustained by a legal challenge. We don't know how it happens.
Okay.
So are you telling me that's what you want me to do?
He didn't say that.
I'm asking you.
Excuse me.
No, I'm just I'm asking you, is that what I need to do?
Sir, we're gonna listen to what everything is. We don't know what we're gonna do. You just came up with this tonight.
Oh, I thought that's his response to it.
No, he's a lawyer, so he responded to it
Okay.
in a legal aspect that, that has never been challenged before.
Well, that's the problem, counsel. That's the problem, because nobody's challenged it.
Okay.
But this is the thing I'm gonna say to you, this is the last thing I'm gonna say. That I take a judge, a state judge here, 2 times a week.
Okay.
And you know what he told me today?
No.
And I'll bring him to you privately. It's unlawful what you're doing. Okay? I don't wanna get into
Sir,
this.
you may be right, sir. I don't know. We never had it before. The ordinance wasn't passed under this current council.
I understand that.
And
That's why I don't know that.
And I don't understand, as a taxi owner, you said you're on for 35 years. Where were you when this ordinance was being passed? Why didn't you protest it at the time?
What do you mean? I wasn't here. I'm not in New Brunswick every day.
I didn't say you were in New Brunswick every day in your own checkered cab. If you knew that New Brunswick was gonna pass an ordinance that was gonna disallow you from picking up passengers in the city of New Brunswick, why didn't you come here and fight it at the time?
But I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay, let's see.
Because I was told by council people, through other people, that this was not directed to us. This was directed to try to clean up New Brunswick.
Okay.
That's what I was told.
Okay.
Well, we all know how
Sir,
politics
let me tell you
work.
something. Listen, maybe we're gonna take a listen, everything you said under advisement. We will go back and we'll talk about it and we'll see what we do. My suggestion to you is one other suggestion I have would be to call the mayor's office. And
I did that, sir.
And what happened?
I was told to, basically, there's nothing they can do.
Okay. Well, like I said, sir.
And I don't want this, council, I don't want this.
I understand, sir.
I'm in business 35 years. It's not like I just showed up and popped up and I'm a new company.
Sir, I'm familiar with your company. I know the company, Checker Cab. I lived in Brunswick my whole life. I know the company.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't
I just don't
understand
okay.
how not you, and I apologize to all the council people. Everybody, I apologize to the lawyer and everybody.
Oh,
But how
he
can
was
you?
here. He was here. Don't
I-
apologize.
But what I'm saying is, on your way home tonight, when you're in that car, think about what I'm saying. That I could drop you off here, but I can't pick you up. They tell you who takes you home.
Sir, I get it.
Thank you.
I get it. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening, my name is Thomas Credo.
Good evening.
I used to work in the agency, Ernst & Leaf. Just want to say thank you. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. Anybody else like to address the council? Anybody else? Step up.
Hola, buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
Solo venimos aquí de parte de la comunidad de New Brunswick,
We're here on behalf of the community of New Brunswick,
por parte de Junior Square, Proyecto Esperanza y New Labor. Gracias.
with Unity Square, New Labor, and Esperanza. We just want to say thank you.
Gracias por apoyar a la ley de un día de enfermedad para todos los trabajadores de New Brunswick.
For supporting earned sick leave for all the workers in New Brunswick.
Muchas gracias a todos.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Buenas noches, señores del Consejo. Buenas noches, damas y caballeros. Mi nombre es Rafael Sánchez, integrante y colaborador de Unity Square, Proyecto Esperanza y New Labor.
Good evening, council members. Good evening, public. My name is Rafael Sanchez. I'm a participant in Unity Square Esperanza Project and New Labor.
Y a nombre de estas organizaciones de actividades positivas y de todos los trabajadores, vengo a darles las gracias por escuchar nuestras peticiones sobre una ordenanza de días de enfermedad pagados.
And on behalf of these organizations and all the workers that will be affected, we just want to come and share our thanks for listening to the community on this issue.
El 24 de noviembre, en una reunión que tuvimos con el alcalde, los del proyecto Esperanza, el alcalde nos explicó que estaban haciendo una revisión de esto para que fuera de una manera equitativa, sin afectar a uno o a otro.
Last week, on the 24th of November, the Esperanza Project met with the mayor and talked a little bit about this issue, among others. He explained some of the revisions and changes that the city had put in the ordinance from the original version to try and find a balance in the clauses of the ordinance.
De antemano les dimos las gracias y se las damos a ustedes, y la petición que le hacemos ahorita, que por favor se amplíe a los ramos, entre más trabajadores sean beneficiados con esto, mejor, lógicamente, de una manera limpia y equitativa.
So we just want to say ahead of time thank you, and also that we hope that this ordinance can cover as many workers as possible. We obviously know that the more it covers, the more benefit it has.
Gracias y tengan buena noche.
Thank you and good evening.
I just want to give everybody an announcement also. This ordinance will be up on the city's website tomorrow, is that correct? I mean, this information here, is that correct? Yes. Yes. So if you want the city's website tomorrow, there'll be frequently asked questions, a page for on the, yes, Jackie, one.
Yeah, tomorrow on the front page of the website, we'll be posting some information, not the ordinance itself, but just some, the frequently asked questions section and some more supplementary information about what the ordinance would mean if it was passed.
Okay. So if you have any questions or things like that, you can take a look at the city website tomorrow and it will be on there. Anybody else like to speak to the council this evening?
Hi, my name is Jan Roan and I'm from Brick, New Jersey. And I'm here tonight because my great-great-great-great-grandparents, as well as my great-great-great-grandparents and my great-great-aunt are buried here in Willow Grove Cemetery. I'm also related to some other people in this cemetery, it turns out, thanks to Ancestry.com, through my 4G grandparents, their grandparents, who were residents of New Brunswick back before there was even a city, when New Brunswick was still a settlement in the state of New Jersey. When I went to the cemetery, I was rather disturbed by what I saw there, and I'm here tonight to talk about what's in the past and what we can do possibly in the future going forward. I was very disturbed by the fact that their graves had been vandalized. I was even more disturbed by the fact, as I walked through what appeared to be the nicer part of the cemetery, because of the nice grassy areas, I came to an area of the cemetery overlooking a hillside where it looked like the gravestones of the dead had been tossed over the edge of the hill. And I invite you, if you've never been there, to go and see it for yourself, and you will realize just how disturbing a sight it really is. After doing some further research and talking to some neighbors of the cemetery, I was informed that the worst vandalism came not from people who went through damaging gravestones randomly, but by the city of New Brunswick itself, who I was told by a neighbor came through with a very large rake in the 1970s, and anything that was scattered on the ground by vandals was then raked into a pile, and over the years has been hauled off to the dump. So that's the past, and none of us here are responsible, I don't think, for what happened to cause that to happen. However, going forward, I'm here tonight to make two requests of the city. The first one is to, first of all, not take those types of actions in the future. The graves of my dead relatives, I can fix that, but my great-great-great-grandparents, whose gravestone was apparently tossed off the side of a hill, and God only knows where that is, I can't do anything about that, and I can't fix that. And while it may be tempting to go to other sections of the cemetery and make it look nice, the way that that area of the cemetery looks so much nicer, please don't, because really we would rather see the fallen over gravestones and to think that the graves of these people have been, I don't know, I hate to use the word desecrated. And so I'm here to ask that the city not take those kinds of actions in the future. I was told by a neighbor also that as recently as several months ago, that there was materials being removed from the site in a truck. And there are still headstones in that area of the cemetery. It would be nice if some care were taken, considering it is a New Jersey State Historic Site as well as a National Historic Site, that some care could be taken to basically preserve what may still be left in that pile of rubble. So really that's why I'm here tonight, is to ask you to please consider those requests. I won't go on about just how disturbing and just how upsetting this is to see it. Like I said, I think you really have to see it to believe it. And so I would really appreciate it if you would take those requests into consideration, because I would hate to come back several months from now and find out that the gravestones that I'm planning to have repaired have been hauled off to the dump in another attempt to clean up. So in my mind, that's not cleaning up. And thank you, I really appreciate your cooperation in that.
Yes, sir.
Good evening once again, Charles Prattville, New Brunswick. I want to begin by commending the council for taking the first reading on the earned sick leave ordinance. I think it's a great step in the right direction for the city, and I think I want to second what everybody said about thanking you for listening and for putting it together. I look forward to reviewing it tomorrow. I do need to ask, I was shocked to find out that a New Brunswick firefighter was charged with crimes, theft. Can you tell me why has that person not been suspended, Mr. Walker?
Mr. Locken?
He has been suspended.
Okay, when was he suspended?
He was suspended November 20th, which was November 23rd, which is a Monday. I believe he was charged on the Friday before that.
Okay. Is he, has he requested an administrative hearing or not yet?
He has requested one.
So add him to the list. How is that even possible, what he was doing? He was working for the city at the same time he was collecting disability?
First of all, Mr. Prattville, no, he's allegedly, no one's been found guilty of anything yet, and I can't comment on any of this. Obviously, this is an investigation going on. It's a personnel matter, and, we certainly cannot comment on it, and everything's alleged right now.
Okay, has anyone looked in to see if any other folks on the city payroll are engaged in similar schemes?
I believe, from what I've heard, I believe the insurance company is doing that. I've heard, to see if anybody else has done it.
And who's that? The FCM?
Could somebody tell me the name of the insurance company?
Aflac.
Aflac. Don't do it. Who did it? I heard it done back there. I heard it done.
All right. I also have to ask about the pension situation for several of the city attorneys. Is there a total number of attorneys whose pensions have been challenged and are going to be at this next meeting in Trenton?
Who can comment on that?
There'll be three at the meeting in Trenton next week.
3 at the meeting.
Three, and that's Mr. Hamilton, Mr. Buca, and Mr. Shammy. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to devote the rest of my time to talking about, well, maybe not. Police issues are very important here. I'm very concerned you're getting rid of the police scanner. The police are no longer giving dispatch logs in response to OPA requests, now that you have this special person helping you with the OPA requests who doesn't know the law. Police videos are being kept secret, and we also have, correct me if I'm wrong, the Internal Affairs is no longer under the oversight of Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office like it was.
I don't think it is anymore, but that stopped after a while. Captain?
Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office oversees everything the police department does. But as far as the special oversight that I think Mr. Cradible was referring to, that has been stopped.
Okay. So I think we're going in the wrong direction with police transparency. We all saw what happened in Chicago. A boy was murdered by the police, and the police covered it up and let a murderer walk around as a free man for a year. And that police director was from New Jersey, of course. You know, he used to be the Newark police chief, and now he's out of a job. I don't want that to happen here ever again. But when we're going in a direction where police videos are not being given to the public upon request, dispatch logs are not being given upon request, and what has been an American tradition, being able to listen to the police radio transmissions, is being taken away, how are we going in the right direction with police community relations when we're actually taking away elements of transparency across the board?
Is that a question?
Yes, how is that moving in the right direction when we're actually taking away transparency and allowing things like that to potentially happen?
Mr. Cradible, we spoke, you know, as far as the radio situation, the police feel other towns are doing this and they have a better way of solving crimes without their stuff going out of the air. You don't agree with that. So we'll agree to disagree. Okay? I feel, like I told you before, I have no problem with that. The police said this is a tactic they want to use, and so I listened to what they were saying, and that's the tactic they want to use. As far as the transparency is concerned, I don't know of what you're asking for. Is it not over? Is he allowed? What's he asking for, Captain? Help us out.
There's a recent appellate court decision that the dispatch logs and the videotapes that Mr. Cradible is requesting, they are no longer valid for disclosure under oath.
Okay, so is that a law?
It was an appellate court decision that came out a month or two ago.
Can the captain cite the case?
Not off the top of my head.
Not off the top of his head. He gave the information on the, so you can look it up to see if he's right or not.
Okay, because I've questioned this.
Okay.
I had
Can you give him that appellate court decision information so we can look it up, Captain? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm also very concerned because we have a real crime problem in New Brunswick. It's going in the wrong direction that way too. So despite all these things, an average of one person is stabbed or cut every week in New Brunswick. Also, somebody's held up with a gun every week on average, 39 times in 39 weeks. There were 39 crimes where people were robbed at gunpoint in New Brunswick, and the police are not publicizing the crimes, except in very small instances. I'll give you just an idea. There was one press release from the entire department in January. In the month of November, there was only one. October, there was only 2. September, there was only 3. But there are crimes happening repeatedly, and the police are covering it up. They are not informing the public about it. Rutgers police do a better job. They have a system where they put out crime alerts. The city of New Brunswick has never once used its Nixle system to alert the public of a single crime. Why aren't we doing that? If you're going to take away the police scanner, you've got to step it up in a real way, because otherwise people are going to be in the dark and people are going to get hurt, and it's going to be very, very bad.
First of all, Mr. Cradible, as far as people committing crimes, if there was a way anybody in this room could get some kind of crystal ball and get into some people's head on premeditated crime, we can't predict when someone's going to stab somebody or not stab somebody. It's impossible. If we could all do that, the world would be fantastic. But I don't know how we do that. We can't, say when someone's going to hurt somebody, and nobody wants any of those things to happen. We want all the people in New Brunswick to be safe. And as far as advertising, how does that benefit people? So maybe the advertising something like that makes people get scared. The Brunswick's doing their job. They're out there trying to solve all these crimes. They feel they work better without getting out too much information. I mean, I don't read in the story the FBI or all these other people trying to break out all the information. They want to keep it under wraps because they're working in an investigation. If someone got stabbed on some street, why do they want to break out all the information? They want to work it as a team. I would think more as I shouldn't say the word undercover, But why would they want to talk about what their strategy is to solve the crime? Captain?
Just to go with what you're saying, and we've said this many times in the meeting before, there are multiple crimes out there where we do keep it quiet because there's an active investigation, we have information that we're not gonna put out, and it could jeopardize the investigation. If we felt that and this is going to be a total hypothetical, because I know Mr. Credible likes to take everything I say word for word. If there was someone out there just randomly stabbing people, we would get that out to the public. But any of the stabbings that Mr. Credible referred to, the individuals involved knew each other. There's no danger to anybody else in the public.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Crowell, you want to hear that Mrs. Smith stabbed Mr. Smith the other night because he take out the garbage? I mean, I'm not saying, but I understand what the captain is saying, but if there was a killer on the loose, or like he said, I'm sure the city would notify the residents if there was an emergency, or I shouldn't say emergency, or something like a bad man on the loose.
Okay, so how about last week when in my neighborhood I woke up to there being a drive-by shooting a couple blocks away from me, and the police did not do any type of publicity. They did not send a press release. They did not do a Nixle alert. Why aren't the police are paid with the taxpayer dollars? They're doing work in the name of the government. Why are we, the citizens, not entitled to know what they're doing and where we are safe?
I don't think they're trying to not hide from what they're doing. I think they're doing police work. Captain?
I can't comment on an ongoing investigation, but what I just said previously applies to exactly what Mr. Credible just said.
So it's an ongoing investigation, what he just said about the drive-by shooting, and they're trying to solve a crime here. So maybe by not alerting I shouldn't say alerting, maybe not giving the public too much information, that might give the guys that are the bad guys a little information. They might be listening to the same thing, so they're trying to solve a crime here. Go ahead, sure.
No, just today, before we left, there's a shooting in San Bernardino, California. In case if anybody watched the news tonight, and they asked the national news, please don't publish anything right now because it was ongoing. It was an ongoing situation. And because the same information that the good guys get, the bad guys get the same information. And the national press agreed not to show live footage yet because it was an ongoing shooting investigation. It's probably because I haven't seen the news in the last hour, but it was still going on as we left.
Okay, very good point. Good point. All right, Mr. Crowell, can you wrap up here? You're under your...
Yeah, I'll just, a couple other things. I'll lay off the police. I got to ask about the ethics decision.
Yes.
You were fined $100
yes.
for violating the code of ethics. Do you have anything to say?
No, this is not the place to talk about that. This is an ethics board decision, and so I don't have any comment on that right now.
Okay. Is it true you're the first person in the history of New Brunswick, the first government official to be found in violation of the code of ethics?
I wasn't found. Well, I said that I was guilty. So I didn't put down that property that I own. So I don't know that to be true. So I can't comment on that either.
Okay. The council does not get overtime payments, correct? You don't make overtime.
Excuse me? Do I get overtime?
Overtime? No, right?
No, sir.
Okay. And the mayor doesn't get overtime either, right?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Okay.
Everybody's on salary.
Right, and the parking authority leader, the Mitch Karen, doesn't get overtime, but...
Not that I'm aware of.
But the head of the housing authority makes overtime. Can you explain why?
I cannot explain why. This is the first that I'm knowing of this. Have you gone to a housing authority meeting?
Yes, and I was very surprised to hear that the executive director makes overtime. It just seems unusual. Does that seem unusual to you?
I can't comment on it because I don't know nothing about it, to be honest with you. We'll certainly take it under advisement, and I would suggest you go to the housing. And what did they tell you will be questionable?
He said it was for redevelopment work. So, I don't know.
Well, they have a board at the housing authority. I'll question them on their policies, and if he submitted payment for overtime, then I would assume that it would have to be approved by the housing authority.
Fair, that stands to reason. Okay, and then I just,
So you want more time?
just one last question, I gotta ask this one. Does anybody on the council get free parking in the parking decks? You guys raised the rates for the meters, but do any of you get free parking because you have an access card from the NBPA?
Do you know the answer to that already? Did you go to the parking authority and ask that question?
I asked, and there were actually too many people to count who had
Do you
these
know the
access
answer? Do you
cards.
know the answer? Come on.
I don't know,
Come on
because
now.
it's very confusing. There's two systems the parking authority uses. And some people have access cards in one of them, some people have access cards in others, some people have paid for the access cards, and some people haven't. I'm just asking, do you have an access card, you get free parking when you go to the decks?
I'll answer for myself. Okay, you know I was on the parking authority board, I'm the liaison to the parking authority. I believe I have a card, but I have not used it, and I don't know when, to be honest. I have not parked in a parking deck, and I cannot remember, to be honest with you. So I believe that I do have one.
Have an access card, but you don't really use it much?
Correct.
Okay, can you ask your colleagues if they have access cards?
Yes.
I no longer have one because I'm not on the parking authority, and I pay my $3 or $7 when I do my Knights of Columbus, unless St. Peter's gives me a free ride.
Okay.
Council?
No, I'll run in real quick, I hope I don't get a ticket. I feel like everybody else do, break, parking break.
My husband Lou Garlotti serves on the parking authority and he has an access card in that role.
Okay, well, that is all I have. Thank you. If I don't see you at the next meeting, have a very happy holiday.
If you don't see that, I'll be upset if you're not. I'm gonna be upset. You better be here, Mr. Ryan. Would anybody else like to speak to the council this evening? Anybody?
Motion.
Seeing none? Motion. Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes.